Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise and moving to the first topic of this edition. And a passenger falsely claimed that he had was armed with explosive, hijacked an Egypt airplane carrying around 70 people and forced it to land in Cyprus. None of the people aboard the plane was harmed, and some local and Western media outlets rushed into quick conclusions. Although the incident was confirmed not to be terrorist, the Foreign Ministry of Cyprus said after the hijack was over, the perpetrator was psychologically unstable and not a terrorist. That was one of the top topics of this week, and we're going to be discussing this topic with Lola Zaklama, the former president of the International Public Relations Association, president and managing director of a major research and public relations company, and also the board member of Arts for Development. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, how do you evaluate the media coverage of the incident?
I think it was good because it was rational. I mean, it was unbiased. They just reported the facts, which is exactly what media should be doing. But I really think that the minister did an outstanding job of communication. We teach crisis communication, and this was a very serious crisis, and he handled it extremely well. He did exactly by the book, as if we have a book that tells you exactly how to communicate. If he had that book in front of him, he could not have done a better job.
What in your opinion was done correctly? How was, by your term, the book standard? Yeah.
First, he acknowledged responsibility. He took hold of the situation. He took complete control of the situation. Second, he made an apology, and then he really went through the analysis of the young man who did this thing. He didn't panic. He wasn't overwhelmed or anything. He kept very cool, and he did it exactly as the way he should. He acknowledged, he took hold of the situation, and he took full responsibility.
Well, Mrs. Lola, now although we did, according to, we went by the book as you mentioned, and we took the responsibility, yet some international media outlets handled it in a biased way, and they kept stressing on how Egypt is unsafe to travel. Now, how can we counter such allegations?
This is going to go on and on and on. This is not the first time or the last time that the foreign media, the international media, are always hammering, whether they are right or wrong, they're always hammering on Egypt. The only thing that we can do is never respond to these attacks, never respond to these, because they are unfounded. What we have to do is we analyze the situation. If it is unfounded, so we cannot reply to it. We just send out the positive messages about Egypt. We ignore completely this. We do not reply to negative attacks. This has always been the policy. It's very, very hard to control yourself that you don't reply to such negative attacks, especially that they are unfounded. But the right thing to do is just don't respond and talk about Egypt on a positive note. We have so many positive things that are going on. Just ignore. Yes. We can't ignore the crisis, but we just talk about other things, and we can handle the crisis and turn it into a positive.
Yes. So you spoke about crisis management and the way the communication was done. In your opinion, regarding or with regards to the crisis management, how do you think the Egyptian authority handled the entire situation, not only the communication part?
Let us differentiate between one thing. I cannot talk about crisis management or managing the crisis. I talk about managing communication during the crisis. That is my specialty, but I don't know how to manage the crisis itself. Just manage the communication.
Perfect.
So I think, on the other hand, even as an outsider, not even as a communication expert, on the other hand, I think that the crisis was extremely well handled. Very well handled. The boy was caught at the right time. He was not harmed. He did not harm anybody. And it was admitted that he was a person who was psychologically disturbed.
So, within your expertise, do you think the media leveraged that? It was handled correctly, like you mentioned, but was it leveraged in order to, position Egypt differently? Be against false claims that is always at Egypt?
I think they did a good job in reporting the facts as they were. But I think what they did not report enough was the way that the minister handled the situation. I think that did not get enough coverage as it should have done, because that was outstanding. It was the right thing to put Egypt back on track. The way he spoke I personally, I was just in awe of admiration of the way he handled it. I've seen him doing a very good job. This did not get enough coverage.
Now, for the accident itself, do you feel that it's going to affect tourism because some of the international newspapers wrote to come to Egypt and get hijacked? Now, how do you think that really it will affect the tourism?
Everything that happens affects tourism. Unfortunately, a small incident like that over a guy who is psychologically disturbed will definitely have some sort of impact on tourism. But I don't think it's that serious because it's an isolated job. It's not terrorism. It's not something. It's a guy who is psychologically disturbed, which happens everywhere at any time, everywhere. So I don't think it will affect tourism at this moment.
What can we do about it? How can we handle it?
We just ignore it.
But won't we do further promotions, tourism
We
promotion?
just talk about the value of Egypt, value proposition of Egypt. We don't have at all a product problem. We have a very good product. We've got excellent product. We've got excellent positive things to talk about. The weather, the antiquities, the beaches. We've got a whole big project to act. And I think what we have to do is get third-party endorsement. Not we ourselves saying how good we are. I think that the thing to do is that you guys from television and from other international media is go and talk to the tourists who are walking around Karnak and in Sharm el-Sheikh and in Hurghada and having such a great time to talk to them and just have some documentaries about Egypt and get third-party endorsement. It's not we saying how good we are, other people have to say how good we are.
That's a very good. That's a very good aspect from the story in terms of turning the situation, not only focusing on this crisis, but a regular rhythm that should be done by Egypt. Yes, yeah.
Continuous. We have to talk continuously about Egypt. Continuously positive about Egypt through third-party endorsements.
Yes.
So we can also combine the investment climate with the tourism climate, with the economy, whatever. There are so many good stories to tell. I mean, we have a wealth of stories to tell. So let's use it.
And it's all about telling the story because
Telling the story in a true, transparent manner. Not life is all la vie en rose. Not everything is rosy. Yes, we do have problems like everybody else, but we do address the problems. We are taking care of the problems. We are taking care of our society. We are taking care of our country. I think we have a very positive story. Maybe because I'm an optimist by nature, I don't know.
So, from your field of expertise, how can we further promote tourism, like introducing new markets, for instance?
We are already in markets. I don't think we can move into new markets at this stage. I think that what we have to do is keep the ones we have. At least we have a very good relationship with the Russians. The Germans are always coming back to Hurghada. So I don't think we can afford to go into new markets at this stage. I think we just have to keep the ones we have.
To retrieve the ones we have.
Keep the ones we have, keep them coming back because they're the ones who have experienced Egyptian hospitality, who have experienced how beautiful it is. So let's work on these guys and that they go back to their homes and they tell the story. They should go back to their homes and their countries and tell the story.
Beside the third-party endorsement and advocates to be speaking more about tourism, in your opinion, what could be the plan for to support the Ministry of Tourism and the tourism sector in Egypt in order to lift it up and boost what is happening and have a better recovery than what we see today?
Exactly. This is what I'm just saying, that we have to get more and more interviews, more and more endorsement from people who have been to Egypt, who have visited and seen the hospitality of the Egyptians. Maybe go into Khan Khalili and see these tourists going around Khan
So
Khalili.
just focused on the third-party endorsement and the tourist thing.
Third-party endorsement is
That's
the
the focus.
It's the focus because no matter, always in public relations, what we have taught is what is public relations all about. It's not how you saying how good you are, other people are saying how good you are.
Yes.
This is where you have
And
credibility.
do you think this is happening today?
No, not enough. Not at all. I think that we should take much more focus on tourists, on investors who are here in Egypt. I mean, in a time like this, we do have investors who are still coming in Egypt. We have foreign companies, multinational companies who are expanding. Why didn't they walk away? Why didn't these people who have invested a lot of money